And I think we are live. Joshua Lisec. Hello, my lovely.
Hey, Joe. How's it going over there?
I'm good. Let's just explain to anyone who's about to join us that we just had what I have every single week, which is a UK-US nearly to the wire time crunch. It makes life interesting though, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It makes me miss England. Today is my first wedding anniversary with my wife. So it was this time last year. We were just about to head over to London.
Oh, has it been a year? Oh, Joshua and Judy, happy anniversary, you little lovelies. That's so lovely. Oh, guys, well, sorry that you've missed an hour of your lovely wife time. I've made you arrive an hour before we thought, but we're here, and I can see we've got some people starting to join us, which is awesome. Hi, Loredana. Awesome to see you here.
Hey, Loredana.
So, guys, what we are talking about today is becoming the go-to expert with this amazing man here and his amazing brain. And for those of you who saw my email earlier today will know that I spoke about that moment when you go self-employed. And for me, this was 11 years ago. And you're waiting for the checks to come in. And I say checks like it as like, it was the mid-noughties. This is, when checks were still a thing. I wasn't getting my PayPal dings. I wasn't getting Stripe payments. I'm talking about old school, waiting for the check to come through the letterbox. And Joshua, in those days, mate, why did I not know you then? Why did I not know you? It would have been so handy. Yes. So I was saying that, when I first went self-employed, I was a designer. And so I was still providing services. So graphic design, and hi, Phoebe, hi, Loredana, hi, dudes, providing all sorts of services for clients, right? And I'd gone from, in my job where I was really well known, all this kind of stuff, to doing it on my own and making that transition, so whether you're starting off as a service provider or you're making a transition from corporate to providing services, right? We need to charge the money that we are worth, right? Or you are staring at the doormat, like I was all those years ago, just willing to be paid on time and not picture myself in the right area. So, Joshua, what is going on with us not charging what we're worth?
Yes. Well, the answer, in short, I think, is not one that a lot of people, I think, have heard before. So when we talk about charging what we're worth, it's very much self-focused. Like, I have to, raise my value. I have to do all these things. And it's my responsibility to make people pay me what I want them to pay me. But this week, as you and I were talking about some of our struggles early on and really what kind of changed and clicked for us, and I talked to several students of mine, the real shift has been not so much saying, hey, I want you to pay me 10 times what I'm worth, target market, so pay me 10 times what I used to get paid, right? Because that just doesn't work. Yeah. The shift that I've found, rather, is finding people whose projects, whose goals, whose needs are worth paying what you're worth, if that makes sense. So the idea of charging what we're worth and having trouble doing that, I think, is more so a misalignment between ourselves and who it is that we're trying to go after. Because oftentimes when you're starting off and you're trying to get those checks coming in or those PayPal notifications, you're just kind of going after the low-hanging fruit. And you're saying, okay, I have service X, right? Let's say designing, say copywriting. So who can I find that wants design, who wants copywriting? Now, there's an interesting statistic that I came across a few years ago that kind of opened my eyes and really opened the floodgates to the bigger projects for me. And it comes from a market research company out in California. And they found that at any given time for a business, like freelancers, consultants, coaches, only 3% of your target market is actively looking for someone who does what you do. Only 3%. Like, are you kidding me? So what that means is that 3%, they're courting different options. They're out here looking for basically the best price, the best deal. Those are the people who shop on Upwork. Those are the people who reach out to you and ask for a quote real quick. Those are the people who post, in the Facebook groups, hey, I need somebody who does design work. Can you recommend? And then you'll see 5 posts, 10 posts, 15 posts. And they'll talk with different ones. Okay, well, I got your quote. I checked out your menu of services. I'm going to go talk to somebody else, see if I can get a better deal. Right? You see it happen all the time. And those aren't necessarily the type of people who are really looking for the quality that your experience and your background can provide. So my kind of methodology to embrace your value, and rather embrace those people who see how valuable their projects are and how valuable their goals are, and willing to pay someone who knows how to make it happen. That's kind of that 97% that we really want to be going to. Those are the people who are trying to figure out exactly what their needs are. Those are the sort of people who, maybe if you have a wellness coaching business, those are the people who are thinking, okay, should I really align myself to the blood type diet? Should I focus on the low carb, slow carb diet? Should I go after this type of fitness thing? They're trying yoga. They're trying different things to find something that's working. They're actively investing in finding a solution. They're maybe not necessarily Googling, wellness coaches near me. They're maybe not at that point yet. And the same goes for different types of target markets. So the first thing that I really want to bring to the conversation, choosing, what we're worth, is kind of moving away from this 3% of our target market who's kind of scrambling for somebody who can do it on the cheap.
Oh, the scramble.
Right. And moving towards this bigger pool of people who is taking their needs seriously. Bushra of the Persuasion Revolution talks about this regularly, that for those people who take their projects seriously, who take themselves seriously, they're willing to pay serious dollars, serious cash. And so what we're going to be really talking about on Thursday is the trusted expert asset method, which is how to actually court these 97% of people who take their projects seriously, who take their needs seriously, and therefore are going to automatically view your services as more valuable than somebody who's scrambling trying to find the best deal. So to make that kind of long story short here, the alignment we're looking for to charge what we're worth is finding people who really are taking their projects, their goals, their needs seriously enough to see the value of what it is that you do. So the whole point is, how do you find, pitch, and close those type of people? So
and I love
kind of
I love it. I love the fact that you just said as well that there's 97% of the market. There's that scrambly 3%, which oftentimes that's all we're seeing. If you're in that kind of hustle mode and you haven't stopped to really design how you are going to attract the right people and what you're offering them. And you mentioned Thursday, so I'm going to go ahead and drop a link because we are co-hosting a webinar on Thursday, are we not? Which is very exciting. So I'm going to pop this link below the live, so I can put it right here in my little agenda thing. So we are going to be co-hosting. So if you guys can get this one, there we go. I'm also going to pop it in the comments right below as well, so you guys can actually go straight and sign up for the webinar which Joshua and I will be hosting, which digs into all this stuff. And Joshua's got some amazing bonuses. So for those of you who are on my list, for the last couple of weeks, we've been going through. Joshua has the most amazing resources. Like, I'm such a fangirl of this guy's brain. He's so clever, and we've looked at your cheat sheets. We've had some video stuff, and on Thursday you're doing a live webinar with me to walk through some of the stuff. Now, I would love to throw it open to some peeps here, Joshua, if that's cool with you, to see, sure, if you are struggling right now to find those juicy clients who value what they do, who value your services, just kind of let us know what kind of thing is going on for you in the comments below. What kind of struggles do you have, and tag a friend as well who is going through this, and sort of share this live around as well. We want to hear from you guys exactly what it is that you are struggling with. So when it comes to pitching your prices, when it comes to finding that sweet spot, let us know, and we can guide you towards some resources. But also, we want you on the webinar as well, because we're going to be answering all this stuff. And Joshua has got a special live bonus, haven't you, on Thursday?
That's right. So for people who do decide to show up live, yes, we're going to have a recording, but for only people who show up live, because we're going to be talking about things on the webinar, I have the Go-To Service Providers Toolkit. Yes, I think that Joe just put it in the comments, I think.
Just put it in the comments, yeah. Thanks,
Awesome.
Phoebe. So
okay.
Just put it in the comments, my loves.
Yes. So a few of the different juicy bonuses that we're going to be bringing out is, like I mentioned, it's called the Service Providers Toolkit, and one of the most wonderful and I think useful items in that toolkit is a special resource called the Ultimate Testimonial Magnet. Now, oftentimes I hear from a lot of service providers the struggle to get testimonials from people, because social proof in our business, especially in services where we're charging more than $1,000, more than $5,000, more than $10,000, or given whatever your currency is, it is so important to be able to have that social proof, to be able to demonstrate that you're worth being paid that. And like I said, getting testimonials that are actually useful and you can show people is a lot of a struggle for a lot of service providers that I talk to. So by being able to utilize the Ultimate Testimonial Magnet, you're basically able to not just get high value testimonials that are so different from the generic, oh, I really enjoyed working with this person, this was wonderful, I really enjoyed it. Excuse me. You're actually able to get very specific reasons that it's almost as if you wrote the testimonial yourself, and then said, hey, this is a testimonial I want you to say about me. Would you like to say, you would like me to attribute this to you? So that's the first part of the Ultimate Testimonial Magnet. The second part, and this gets into a bit of a case study here, is actually showing you how to turn testimonials from your clients into a services pitch. So basing your pitch, whether it's featured on your website, in social media posts, via email, in proposals, in like an elevator pitch or 30-second commercial, even taking the exact words and phrases that are in your testimonials and spinning them into a pitch. And in the email that went out this morning, I believe, from you, Joe, one of the testimonials there is from a fellow named Adrian, who implemented this method and instantly got several clients out of it that's keeping him busy for almost half a year.
Amazing.
And that is, now for a lot of people, like, okay, so you get clients, that's wonderful. But let's look at what happened before that. Before Adrian used the Ultimate Testimonial Magnet, he was like, well, I'm just a developer, I'm just a consultant. I don't really have that high value zinger pitch. When I go to a client, I say, hey, I can offer you these services and I can kind of help you in these areas. Want to buy a website? Rather, by taking his client's own words, and again, by asking the right questions, he was able to get the right words from his own clients. He now creates an emotionally compelling pitch that widens who he's able to connect with, because he's no longer targeting that 3% people with his pitch and saying, hey, here's what I do. Would you like to hire me for what I do? That's only appealing to that sliver of 3% who are actively looking to buy what that service is. Now, because he's talking about goals and what people are really looking to do with services like his, he's now able to reach out more people. And so it really breaks my heart to see so often where a consultant or a coach or a freelancer is in the ideal position to knock it out of the park with one of these $5,000 projects, $10,000 projects, and they pitch services to that person as if they're in the 3%. So, a good example of this is what Adrian used to do, which was, hey, I'm a web developer. I can develop an app for you. I can do this for you. I can develop your e-commerce website. But there were people who were thinking, we really want to create this product launch funnel. And so they're talking about two different types of, they're talking really in two different languages. The client is talking about their high value goals. And someone comes to them saying, I can develop your website for you. They're like, is this guy really an expert in what we need? Do you really know the strategy behind what we're looking for? And because he comes in like he's pitching to the 3%, who are, they get a $10,000 website for $500, he's not able to deliver a $10,000 pitch to that $10,000. So that's one of the real benefits of not just the Ultimate Testimonial Magnet, helping you use the right words in your pitch to really attract those higher value clients, but putting the entire pitch together of the trusted expert asset method, which we're going to do on Thursday.
Yeah.
It includes personal branding, creating a services package, how to price your services, and even how to attract the right people by finding them on the right channels. We're covering it all on Thursday.
Oh,
and so excited to reach from right now to share, but I don't want people to have to be furiously with their
I know, it's like, you can't come on Thursday, you have to be there for a webinar with us, and the link is in the comments of the live below. So if you're viewing this in the group or on my personal page, go to my, go to this original feed. I'll make sure that everyone sees the link as well, because this is going to be some really interesting stuff on Thursday. And Joshua, I hear this all the time, from my clients and from my group, and, every single day there's someone saying to me, how can I raise my prices, and, how can I find those ideal clients? And the other side of it is that, we're doing the clients a disservice by not, sort of going to them, with our full shebang and with our full expertise. And it, it makes the clients feel awesome to know that they're being, looked after, because if we scrabble to people with that, 3% mentality, that's helping no one. That's a lose-lose, right?
That's right. That's right. And I find that, I think you hit the nail on the head, as we say, with your question you just brought up, which is what you hear often. It's, how can I charge more? How can I get people to pay me more? How can I scale up what I'm pricing? And I think there's really two questions that should be asked in place of that. And this is really what helped me from kind of the piddly sandbox of $5 gigs, like a lot of your audience know. I started at $1.67 an hour. There's not even lower than that. I'm one of the most recent projects. Yeah. On one of my most recent projects, I'm 100x that rate. And so being on that, there you go. so being on that journey, I realized that the question isn't how can I charge what I'm worth. The two questions we asked in place of that are, number one, how can I demonstrate to my target market that my services are worth what I want to be charging? So that's the first question. It takes you down a whole different, wonderful rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And the second part of that question is, and it goes right in line with the first question, is how can I find people who understand their own projects, their own goals, their own needs, are investing a high value amount in. And so answering those two questions, in order to kind of personalize the answers for your situation, whether you're a marketing consultant or a freelance copywriter or a health coach or a wellness coach or somebody who helps people find their life purpose, whatever your services business looks like, the answer to those two questions is something we're going to really dig into with the Trusted Expert Asset Method, which is a system to not just answer those questions, but to then kind of create your own tailor-made process that allows you to answer those two questions. And like I mentioned, I kind of hinted at a general example, which is the answer to the first. The first question is, how can I demonstrate that my services are worth what I want to be able to charge? Testimonials, but the right kind of testimonials. I think a good example of this is when I a few years ago was helping someone create their own online course on product and kind of build out that launch. So I had been talking to freelancers who were going to charge a few $100 to a couple $1,000 for that. And their proposals were, I can help you create the slides. I can write the content for the slides. I can offer tactic 1, tactic 2, tactic 3. But from a client's perspective, they're thinking, okay, my goal at the end of the day is not, I want to have some looking slides for my online class. They're thinking, how can I enrich the world through content that engages people, pulls them in, and even when they're in the product, launch funnel or email sequence, they're really getting something out of it. It's two different types of language, right, that are being used. The clients over here are thinking, how can I change the world? But the freelancers over here offering essentially I guess you could say a cheap pitch, which is, hey, I can help your slideshow. So they're in two different worlds. And so by being able to meet my client where she was at, which is the strategy of creating an emotionally compelling course pitch, designing her sales page, pulls people in. Creating a product that lesson by lesson by lesson helps people understand and grasp the concepts she wants to teach. Now, no, you notice the type of language I'm using? That's the language she uses. She doesn't say, I want X number of slides, and they have this corresponding design, and they follow this and layout, and that's not where she's at. So with your service that you offer, services business, I'm talking, to people listening to us here, think about the language that you use, kind of the jargon that you use to describe what you do, whether building apps or you're helping people, build muscle, and you're a wellness coach. Think about the language that you use versus language that your target market uses to describe what their goals are, what their strategies are. I think a good example of this is I heard from Meet Sethi a few years ago. He gave a stark example specifically for health and wellness coaches. And he said that oftentimes I'll hear a health or wellness coach pitch their services with something like, I help you build metabolism-saving habits and eat right and diet responsibly, blah, blah, blah. But he said the type of language that your ideal client uses is not, I want to develop habits that help me, have a proper metabolism. They say things like, I want to be able to fit in my high school jeans again.
Right.
Two different worlds. So if you're saying your target market, I can help you with your metabolism, I can help you build habits to regulate metabolism, that is not nearly as emotional and therefore not as perceived as valuable as saying, I can help you fit into your high school jeans again. So that's another example of the two different types of language that are being used. One is targeting that 3% of people who know what they're looking for and want the best price for it, and therefore are kind of scrounging around for somebody who's going to work on the. And there's those people who really, really know what they want, but they may not necessarily know that there's a service provider who can help them achieve that goal.
Right, and that's what I love with this. Like, as you know, Joshua, like, sort of my crew watching this know that I'm all about finding ways to think differently, right? And this is this is not the noise out there of everyone in the same Facebook comments. We're getting out of that bubble of just, posting your stuff in a group and hoping and, being scared to raise your prices because we're in a crowded marketplace. Yes, marketplaces are crowded, which is why this stuff is so important, to be able to sort of position exactly what you do, who you are, your expertise, and to go for the right people with the right language. And that is so killer. And I love what you were saying there about the example of the high school jeans, for example, or, if there's, a client who's really wanting to sort of raise their profile and, perhaps they're strategizing their podcast or their book or whatever it is, that, that's not just about, can you write me 500 words for my bio? It's a whole other thing of like, I want to be elevated. I want to be seen as this. And sometimes the client might not even know how to articulate what it is that they actually need and want. But if you can go in there with your, with your head on and be like, right, okay, this is what I can do. And you're thinking in a whole different way from the rest of the herd, which is where you can really make a difference.
Absolutely. I just wanted to write something down real quick here to kind of emphasize that point made. So the blog that I launched a few years ago is called Beyond Freelance. I know a lot of people in your audience don't self-identify as freelancers, but that mentality of thinking like a freelancer, and unfortunately, this is the mentality I wanted to just share with everyone. The mentality of being a freelancer, unfortunately, is this here. I can do X for Y dollars an hour or Y pound or whatever. And that thinking, unfortunately, keeps us at the level where we're only able to interact with people who know exactly that they want X. And you'll see this so often in the Facebook groups, like you mentioned. People will post kind of pitching their services outright in somebody else's Facebook group. And it's like, okay, really? You really can do that? Like, are you serious? The other day I was scrolling through a pretty popular Facebook group. I think it had like about 12,000 members. I'm scrolling down and I'm seeing nothing but those outright pitches and people posting those kind of hero shots of themselves. And I'm like, this isn't really anything for anyone. This isn't, and this is another phrase I like to use, it's not cultivating desire for your services.
Nice.
So true. One of four parts of the trusted expert asset method is exactly that. cultivating desire your services. A great example of this is when I spent, it was probably about 40 minutes last February. I wrote an article about how to pitch your services in person. Mm-hmm. Instead of, hey, I can help you write better copy for your services, and I can help you grow your consulting business, I wanted to cultivate desire for my services. Again, there's a difference between the two goals here. When you cultivate desire for your services, you want your services. When you pitch your services outright and push your stuff on people, is that going to make them want your services? Probably not. When was the last time you scrolled down through Facebook and saw one of those spammy ass posts in a Facebook group and said, I really want to hire this person? No, that just doesn't happen.
You scroll on by. Just keep scrolling.
That's right. So I wrote an article called Stupid Easy Sales. Kind of silly, kind of, tongue in cheek. And I basically outlined a process of how to pitch your services as a consultant and how to write copy for your website and for your proposals that reemphasizes why people should hire. Now, my goal was to get people beating my door down and saying, this is amazing. I wish you could do this for my business. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, of course it is.
I posted in a couple of different Facebook groups. I didn't do any promotion of my own services at all. I didn't even say I was a copywriter or a marketing strategist. I didn't do that at all. I just said, here's how to do what you want to do. Yes. So right there, I'm focused 97% of people who have the goal of getting the attention of their target market and keeping their attention with emotion compelling marketing. Again, that's that with what a lot of copywriters, a lot of marketing strategists do. Strategists, right? Where they take the look of themselves and they post it in the group and they say, I'm a great copywriter with all these years of experience and you should hire me. Here's my portfolio. Again, not cultivating desire. You're not being useful. So I wanted to kind of eliminate that 3% or bargain hunting and target the 97%. So post an article. It gets over 50 comments. It's shared in the group several times. And I had people sending me friend requests. And it ended up being a few months after that I totaled over $1,000 in business from just that one single article. It took about 40 minutes to write.
That's a good ROI right there.
I posted it in the group. I said, let's see what happens. And like I said, I had people coming to me afterwards saying, are you like a copywriter or something? I didn't even say that I was in the post. So that's because I knew who my 97% were. I knew what their goals were, and I knew how I could be helpful to them. So the type of article or piece that I wrote, I call it a yes trigger, where it's not just the content you're throwing together and writing a top 10 ways to do X how-to post, but rather trigger the yes that goes off in people's minds. And I think a lot of people are going to resonate with what I say next. And that is the yes trigger idea I got from a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie mentioned when you're trying to persuade someone to want to hire you or say yes to working with, you need to get them saying yes to you in any way possible in the first interaction. So by implementing that, I think, okay, I want to put together something that's very valuable that people are going to look at and say, yes, I want to be able to do that. And of course, the title I gave my piece was Stupid Easy Sales. And is that something you want? Of course it is. You're in my target market. So they're saying yes, they read it. They read the whole thing. They're saying, yes, this is useful. Yes, this is useful. Yes, this is awesome. And of course, I like to use that kind of just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, but giving examples along the way of how I implemented it. So I made sure to kind of work in a couple of testimonials of how I've helped people stupid easy sales. So I'm working social proof into my yes trigger article inside somebody else's Facebook group. And so from my perspective, I'm promoting myself. I am being as self-promotionally as possible. But because the approach is to cultivate desire for my services by being useful, everybody wins. And in both the groups that I posted, the administrators of the group posted in my article and thanked me personally for posting it in their groups, even though I was promoting my own services.
But that's beautiful, right? Because you've added huge value for that group by showing how they can do X, Y, Z. And I love that, if people would have been scrolling down your article saying yes to you before they've even interacted with you. Like, how many of us want that with our clients, to be able to prove through that, piece of work, so through that, piece of really killer content that, I'm the person you needed before you've even messaged me, before you've even emailed me, you want me. That's amazing. That's killer.
Exactly. And another benefit is that you're demonstrating that you can think strategically about how to achieve a high value goal. And you're not just, hey, hire me for X service and Y dollars an hour, or Y pounds an hour, or Y euros an hour, or whatever. And again, that allows you to no longer think like a freelancer, and rather to think like that go-to expert who knows how to create a proven strategy, who knows how to set up a process going to get you there. And that's the goal of one of the freebies we put out a couple of weeks ago, which was the how to create a need-to-have service, which uses this very simple infographic that you create and customize, and you send off to your target market, and it allows them, or rather, not just to your target market, but to each individual prospect that you're interacting with, and allows you to show them how you're going to get them from not just where they are, but to where they want to be, every step in between from here to there. So I'm all about thinking strategically and growing your business strategically, and finding that asking the right questions is really helpful. So, like I said, I really want to, strategy, not scattergun. I like that.
Is that my little...
Yes. And
we say that all the time, don't we, Josh? We see it all the time, and I'm sure that everyone watching this, whether you're watching on the replay or you're watching live, guys, I know that you've seen it, and you've probably done it. Hands up, we've all tried it. Like when you're in the early days, and you're kind of like, right, if I just tell everybody about what I'm doing, and hopefully something's going to kind of stick. I'm going to throw loads of spaghetti at the wall, and now I've got all spaghetti hoops on there, and we're not about that, right? This is about saying, right, let's get really strategic, and the impact as well of raising your prices and raising your worth. Oh my goodness, the impact that has on your life, on your health, on your time with your family, on what you're doing. Like, you're not working all of the hours and mainlining coffee and getting burnout. Like, this is a whole different ball game, isn't it? We're talking a whole different approach.
Right. And I think you really got into it, and it's more than just how can I double or triple or whatever what I'm getting paid for my services. I think it's an alignment issue where you're asking yourself, what is it? Okay. Let's take an example. Let's take like $1,000 project. A lot of the work that I do, there are freelancers who will charge 1/10 price. And that's where they stop. Like, they're not going to go over that level. And I gave you that example with the creating the online masterclass I mentioned for a client earlier. And so the question is, what does my target market see paying, $10,000 or $5,000 worth? So what if they're paying $5,000 service, $10,000 for a service? What would they expect to get out of that? And so then you're able to think from the perspective of the client, which is always very, very helpful when you're thinking from their perspective, because you can speak to them on their level and show them that what you do when they get them where they're at. And so if you're thinking, okay, I will be able to charge $5,000 for this services package that maybe I haven't been able to make $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 in the past. I really want to scale that up. So then you ask yourself, okay, what results or what strategy or what process or even what guarantees would I have to offer to my market in order to meet them at the value level where they see, wow, this is worth $5,000. In fact, that's a bargain from their perspective. And a lot of it goes back to talking with your target market and polling them. That's why I like to do surveys on a regular basis. I like to do client intakes, sending out to past clients in the form of, well, you're not just getting testimonials, but like the client intake sheet that came with the Zero to Client worksheets a couple of weeks ago. It's a great way to kind of find out where your target market is at. So I don't want to point home too much, but it's so important to think from the perspective of your clientele, your target, and ask, what do they see as worth $5,000 or $10,000 for? And then create that services package or that offer or that pitch based on what they see as being worth $5,000, $10,000, whatever. There's a recent project that I just, I like that. I love the phrase cultivating desire. Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Sue. And that's so true. And I think that's a massive piece there. And also what you were just saying, Joshua, about sort of making the client kind of realize, hey, that's actually a bargain. Because when you connect with them and show them that the return on that investment as well, it's like, well, hey, this work that we're going to do together, right? You're going to pay me X amount, but the return on investment for you, like it's over here. It makes it a no-brainer, doesn't it? If you show them, and that connects you back with really knowing what your worth is by recognizing what your skills do. So again, if we take the sort of design example, rather than just knocking up something quick in Canva, you're like, right, we're going to get right to the bottom of what your brand is. We're going to understand it, or we're going to this piece of design, it's going to generate you X amount of clients, or we can expect to see such and such. It's a different ball game completely. And every client in that 97% is going to want to know what this investment means to their bottom line, right? Fair enough. That's why we're in business. That's business 101. But by you knowing that, and by going through your process, which I'm so excited about to be sharing with people on Thursday, that is such a huge missing piece that we often don't see, talks about in the kind of pitchy, flitty kind of let's just stick things out there and hope it works type way. There's a real formula behind this, which you're going to walk us through. I love it.
Exactly. And I want to throw just maybe one more bombastic example out there, and to kind of show the difference between someone who thinks like a freelancer and, I'm sorry, go ahead. You just cut out there for a second, Joe. Oh, cut out there for a second. You there, Joe? Okay. Well, I guess while we're just kind of waiting for the syncing to get back here, I had one last example that I wanted to share that kind of show the difference between someone who's thinking like a freelancer, and again, I can do X service for Y an hour, or per project, or per deliverable, or whatever that looks like. And then someone who's coming from this perspective of essentially, I'm going to think strategically, I'm going to think like a freelancer, I'm going to think from that high value perspective. And that is something that you just mentioned a couple of seconds. For this particular project. And when I was charging $9,700 for something that people are charging $100, $200 for, I had my work cut out for me. So I kind of took a page out of Joe's book, which is showing people the return they're going to get, showing the return to expect. And that return in this case, it came across as, here is the, okay, you just wrapped it up. Okay, can you hear me, Joe? I can't hear. It's still saying there's 4 people. Anyway, just to wrap up the story there real quick. I showed in my proposal what the expected return on investment was. So when I showed people how we're going to get their book done, going to get their book launched, I said, here is the number of copies of your book that we would need to sell in order for you to recoup your investment. When they're thinking in terms of return on investment, and I can show them, I can demonstrate them that the process we're going to undertake is going to get them to that level where that's the type of return that they're going to see, and they're actually going to make money on that. Then, like you say, it is a no-brainer, and it's just math. So in that example, I mean, comparing $9,700 to someone who's charging $100 for virtually the exact same thing, but essentially it's not really the exact same thing, because there's a difference between understanding the strategy of what you're doing and just saying, I can do X for Y dollars an hour. So it looks like we're still on here. A couple of people left. So yeah, I noticed that that Sue said that we have, the whole goal is to